Welcome to the Business Credit and Financing Show. Each week, we talk about the growth strategies that matter most to entrepreneurs. Listen in as we discuss the secrets to getting credit and money to start and grow your business. And enjoy as we talk with seasoned business owners, coaches, and industry leaders on a variety of topics from advertising and marketing to the nuts and bolts of running a highly successful business. And now, to introduce the host of our show, financial expert and award-winning author, Ty Crandall.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show today. I'm really excited you could join us because today we have with us an expert on an area that I'm really fond of because we've been able as a company to make a lot of money in this area, and I think it's a great opportunity for everybody listening to also develop advertising and marketing strategies in this area and make a lot of money for your business as well. So with us today is Maxwell Finn, and he's the CMO and co-founder of Unicorn Innovations. He has years of experience creating hugely profitable Facebook ads, spending millions of dollars for both his clients and his own companies. Now, Max is a serial entrepreneur and has launched and grown and sold several e-commerce brands and venture-backed startups. He's able to grow his latest e-commerce brand, Startup Drugs, from 0 to 100,000 in sales in less than 4 months and hit a 500K run rate in just 6 months. That was all accomplished with Facebook marketing and several automated email funnels. He's passionate about helping entrepreneurs and small business owners achieve success, which is why he's here with us today. So Max, thanks for coming on.
It's great to be here. I know we're a little late, but better late than never.
Oh man, that happens. It's impossible to be in the podcasting world without having some kind of issues. It's usually on the tech side. So no problems, man. I'm just excited you could be here because I love Facebook advertising. I think it's such a great opportunity that everybody should be messing with right now.
Yeah, definitely. It's well, the problem is like everyone's messing with it and few people know what they're doing, and that's its own bag of worms in terms of people having issues and stuff there.
Well, that's why you're here, to take us from messing with it, which would be my recommendation, to actually succeeding with it, which would be your recommendation.
Exactly. So we're going to have a lot of fun today talking about that transformation.
That's cool. So let me ask you this. How long have you been an entrepreneur for?
I come from an entrepreneurial family. So my grandpa was an entrepreneur and my dad was an entrepreneur. And here I am. So it's been in my blood since I was born. You know, I dabbled in stuff while I was in high school and then really launched my first startup while I was still in college that actually raised like venture funding. And so since then, I haven't looked back, never had a typical 9-to-5 job. You know, I did the crappy 9-to-5 deli job. You know, I think that it's important for everybody to work those jobs at some point. I think it's not good if you go straight to like startup world or straight to like corporate banking or straight to like a normal job if you don't work on your feet for like 14 hours a day, 12 hours a day, working kind of manual labor and doing that stuff. So that built a lot of character when I was still in high school and freshman year in college. And then since then, it's all been startup and entrepreneurial space.
That's awesome. So what was your first gig that you started in college?
So we started a company, me and a partner of mine, called the Daily 100, which initially started out as a daily contest platform based around photos and helping brands like gamify creating social content. And so every day we would give away $100 cash for the most creative and the most upvoted photo. And so we started that locally. We actually launched it in Gainesville, Florida, University of Florida. That's where my partner was based at the time, doing medical device sales.
Go Gators.
And by the time, so we were there. That's where we launched the app and everything. And by the time we finished our kind of alpha round of testing, I think about 65% of everybody that had an iOS device in the city had downloaded the app. So we knew we were onto something.
Wow, that's awesome.
And that's a whole journey talking about that startup and its progression. You know, we raised millions of dollars from angel and venture funds, and it morphed into a much more robust platform for micro rewards and kind of long tail influencers. We had about 20 employees, and that's managing a tech team as non-tech founders, bootstrapping. There's so many areas there that we could spend days talking about, but it was a really fun experience. It was a huge success for my first startup out of school, and made plenty of mistakes pretty much on a weekly basis that helped me learn a lot and get to the point that I'm at today.
That's great. Now, what was your transition from where you were there and a couple other businesses in between to what you're doing now with Facebook?
That's a great question. So I think the biggest transition for me was I knew that I was always passionate about marketing, even though at the Daily 100, which became Loop, I was our COO. So I managed our team, I managed our product development, I managed all our tech and a lot of other things along with the marketing. But I was always passionate about the marketing side and the ability to put the right message in front of the right person at the right time and convince them to buy something that they had no intention of waking up and buying today. That has always been an exciting feeling to me, and it's a pretty powerful feeling when you actually think about it. I don't think enough marketers and businesses understand how powerful that is. That you're taking somebody that just, they woke up, they're going about their day, they have lunch, and they go onto their iPhone, and if you can get the right message in front of them, they could buy something. And it's impulse, and that's a really cool sensation. It's a cool ability if you can do it well. So that was always a passion. Always knew I wanted to do it. With the Daily 100, when we got to the end of that, I kind of had gotten exhausted of the Silicon Valley world, and even New York and Boston and other hubs. It's a really, really stressful and challenging environment because the mindset is grow your user base, focus on biz dev and profitability down the road, but just get a lot of users. And that's kind of the emphasis. And it's changing slightly, but it's still a big component of it. And the problem with that is like every day your cash balance is decreasing. So there's no money coming in. There's just a lot of money going out. And that is as an operations person, that's a really, really stressful environment to operate in. And it's even more stressful when you do it for two plus years. And then the need to constantly be raising money, to constantly be out on the road pitching the business. It's not a fun experience to have to go travel for 4 or 5 months and hit office after office and basically sit there and ask people for money. Like that is not a fun thing to do. It's my least favorite thing about the startup world. And so really I was like, well, with the skills that I have, there's no need to be doing this. Like there are ways that you can be profitable from day one. You don't need to be investing massive amounts of cash into technology and building all these tech products. There's ways that I can do this and be profitable. And so that was really the impetus of me changing a little bit and focusing more on e-commerce and where I'm at today versus staying in that kind of bubble startup world tech mindset.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting look at venture capital. And that's always astonishing to me too, because to see companies that are out there that, all they're doing is just focusing on being profitable. To me, that's so backwards because when you start a business from scratch, that's the first thing you focus on, right? Before you do everything else. You've had a few exits then from e-commerce businesses as you've then been on this path you are with doing advertising and marketing, right?
Yep. So it's been fun. Nothing's been huge, like the ability to retire and not work anymore or stop working, but it's great to have some positive exits and you have some losses and some things that just don't work and they fail. But to be able to actually create something that a year ago there was just an idea and today somebody's willing to buy it is a really cool feeling as well.
So you're really big into Facebook. So what's hot right now with Facebook marketing?
Sure. So right now, with Facebook, it's such a robust platform that has evolved at like an astonishing pace, especially in the last year and a half or so, from when I first started using it to what it looks like today. It's kind of night and day. And a lot of the focus right now, at least from Facebook standpoint, is kind of cross-channel attribution, multi-channel touch points, and being able to track data and attributions across multiple campaigns. And then that's a lot of jargon and it might be confusing, but basically what's happening now is consumers are interacting with brands and advertisers throughout the day, throughout their week, throughout their month in a lot of different areas. So they might see a top of the funnel video ad on their Facebook mobile feed, and then a week later they might see an Instagram story ad that pitches, a free sample of a product. And then a week later, they might see a YouTube ad, and then they might see a TV ad, and then they might go in store and see an in-store display. And so there's so many of these touch points. The challenge is, as advertisers, it's becoming more and more complex to understand what ad is actually driving the sale, which ads are successfully being attributed to that. Because if you look at it, most advertisers, especially in the direct response world, judge whether an ad is successful based on what its return on ad spend is. So if I'm spending $1 on this ad, am I making $3 or $4 back in sales? But if you have multiple ads in a sequence, that all are working together towards that goal, you're only seeing the ad that was the last touch. So you're only seeing that, what was the last ad that person clicked on and bought. That's the one that's getting the gold star. That's the one that's getting the sale, the attribution. And because of that, you don't understand, was this ad also important? And if I turn this ad off, does that mean that this ad won't get the sale because this was a critical component of it? And so Facebook and a lot of other ad platforms are rolling out more and more tools that are helping with that attribution, that are helping understand the full funnel. And that's really important. And so that's, kind of talking at a bigger level here today. If we're talking about teaching people that are running Facebook ads how to do it more effectively, that's where they need to be operating. Unfortunately, too many people focus on this kind of small bubble of cold ad to sales page and hoping they buy, and then back to that cold ad to sales page. And they try to repeat that process. And that's a really, really small piece of the total equation. And the brands that are doing it really, really well, and the advertisers that are doing it very, very well, are running a lot more ads at the top of the funnel for brand awareness and reach. They're running a lot of ads in the middle of the funnel to nurture, engage, get micro commitments and opt-ins. And then they're running a lot of ads at the end of the funnel to get that conversion, and then also to further monetize that customer and maximize the lifetime value. And so it's a much bigger campaign. It's a much bigger sequence. And there's a lot more touch points and a lot more goals in those ads than just asking somebody to buy something. And if you can understand that and you can do that well and set up this sequence, you can be really effective and scale really effectively Facebook. If you don't do that and all you do is ask people to buy something, and that's the entire experience, you're going to find it very difficult to be profitable with any ad platform.
Now, is that what you do as part of the Facebook IQ Academy?
Yeah. So, with Facebook Ad IQ, for a very long time, I was always behind the scenes person and helped other people build their brands and sell their stuff. And it got to the point probably about 6 months ago where I had been encountering so many people that I just know for a fact do not know what they're talking about, launching courses and programs on Facebook ad training or e-commerce training or whatever it is. And one of those individuals reached out to me, it's like a young kid, and said, hey, I had this Facebook ad course. It's $495. I have a few hundred people that bought, but I'm looking to do Facebook ads for it. Can you do it for me? Because I don't think I can do it. And I was like, I had to take a step back, because it's like, man, you just said that you're not confident to put your own money for your own product on Facebook ads, but you're trying to get people to buy a Facebook ads training program from you. And that was really the starting point for me saying, I need to put a course out there, not so much to make money. I mean, that's obviously a great byproduct and that's happening, but more so because I think that hardworking entrepreneur, that small business owner that's investing in their business every day and that has $1,000 saved up and wants to invest in a training program for themselves shouldn't get scammed. Like, if they're going to spend $1,000 on a course to learn something, it should be the best course out there, and it should actually help them be better at what they're doing. And so that's really why I created the group. That's why I created the training program. And that's what it's all about. It's, the course is incredibly comprehensive, and I don't want to pitch my course and stuff. That's not why I'm here. But the bigger component is every week we do 2 sessions on our Facebook group. So Fridays we do for an hour to 2 hour live session where I do Q&A. And then every Tuesday, just started yesterday, a live ad audit. So for an hour to 2 hours, I audit all of our students' ads, landing pages, e-com stores, and we have the members do it as well. So it's been a really fun experience. I actually am enjoying being on the other side and kind of interacting with people on a more personal level and sharing at a bigger level. So it's been a lot of fun and really exciting for me to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And one of the aspects in there, like you said, there's a lot involved going on right now with Facebook, but one of them is Messenger. So, how are you using Messenger right now to grow your business?
Yeah, so Messenger is huge, and we actually have my partner Eric just put together. We've been working on a really, really elaborate Messenger sequence for our course, and I think it's a 45-day sequence. So we use ManyChat, friends with their team that runs the company. So we've been with them for a very long time, beta testing a lot of the features. And for us, Messenger has been an incredibly effective lead generation and customer engagement platform. Way more effective than email and text. So we're seeing 4 to 5x engagement numbers on Messenger in terms of open rates and click-through rates. And then we're also seeing significantly lower cost per lead costs on Messenger compared to email. So even if they were break even if we had, we were paying the exact same for email Messenger, we would go with Messenger every time because of the engagement rates. And then on top of that, we have the beauty of, sorry, there's a little background noise here. It's a problem when you got two dogs at home.
No problem. I understand. I have two German Shepherds, and I could never keep those guys quiet. So,
Yes. On the back of that, the cool thing now is like ManyChat and these big messenger platforms are now integrated with Zapier, and so you can pretty much integrate them with everything. And so now we can kind of double dip and pass through email addresses. So it used to be, even 3 months ago, you had to kind of make a choice as a marketer. Do I want to get a messenger subscriber or an email subscriber or a text subscriber? Now you can go all in on Messenger, and simultaneously in kind of that first message you send them, or maybe a follow-up message, you can say, hey, thanks for subscribing. I have this special content sometimes I only send out to my email subscribers. I'd love for you to join. If you just reply with your email address here, it'll tag you, and then I can pass that through to Zapier. So Messenger is huge. It's growing really fast. It's getting easier and easier for marketers to create Messenger ads. A few months ago, it was more complicated to do it correctly so people get subscribed sooner. There's features like comment to subscribe that I'm sure you've seen, where people run ads that you can comment on the post and auto subscribes you. Those features are tough because it requires the person to also reply back. So there's more. It's not just like a one click. So it's getting better. ManyChat now has a feature that uses JSON to do one click subscribe. So it's been great, super effective, super important part of all of our Facebook campaigns for all of our offers and all of our client offers, just because it makes it so easy when you want to get a message out to a group of people. And on top of that, if you're going to work your ass off building a list and you're going to spend a lot of money building a list, I don't want 18% of the people to only see the message I write, right? Like you work so hard to build this email list, and you work really hard to write really great emails, only to get 18 to 25 to 35% of people to open it. And that's very, very optimistic if you can get 35 or 40% open. With Messenger, you're getting, 75, 85, 95% open rates on that. So it's so much more effective and worth your time and resources to go that route than email at this point, just because of those numbers.
now I noticed you have a really cool feature on your website where it sends to Messenger, whereas a lot of people are trying to solicit for email opt-ins. How effective is that for you?
Yeah, that's been huge. I made that decision probably 3 months ago. I made the decision to abandon my welcome mat for email, so my email opt-in, and switch it to ManyChat. They have a growth tool feature that kind of mimics that welcome mat feature that SumoMe and some of the other platforms use. And it's been night and day compared to that. So probably seeing consistent opt-in numbers in terms of the percent of people that are actually opting in to that offer, because the offer is really the same. It's not really changing that, it's just changing the delivery system. But where it is different is, again, going back to those engagement numbers around email and Messenger. If I have a choice, I'm going to choose the option that guarantees that more people are going to see the message, right? So on my website, if I could send people to a communication system where 20% of those people are going to see my messages, or I can send them to a communication system where 85% are going to see my message, I'm going to choose 85% every time. And that's really what it came down to me. It was just numbers. It was just data. And I haven't looked back since I made the decision. We've made that decision on a few of our e-commerce stores and other properties, and have seen similar results, kind of switching from email to Messenger. But at the same time, I'm not saying by any means that email is dead and we've stopped using email. Email is still really effective, and we still use it on a weekly basis. It's just we're putting a lot more of our eggs in the Messenger basket than email at this point.
So when you push them from Messenger or into Messenger, are you soliciting for an email fairly quick into that part of the funnel?
No, most of our Messenger sequences, and the same thing's true with our email and any communication we do, is built around establishing a relationship first and providing value first. And so we pretty much never ask for something in the first week or two from anybody that subscribes to any of our channels. It's all about value delivery. And the new sequence we're launching now is I record these kind of 60-second ad hacks that are just short little tip videos. And so we have an entire sequence, an ad hack sequence with all the hacks plus power tools that I use. And so we're delivering, I think, 5 or 6 of those over a 14-day period before we even pitch or ask anything. So it's all about just delivering value and getting micro commitments from those subscribers. So we'll ask them, short little questions. Hey, are you finding this hack valuable and valuable? Yes, no. And that way we can tag these people, and we know the people that are saying no, we're not bothering them anymore. We'll try other things on them, but we're not going to max out that person's trust and then get an unsubscribe. So we regularly tag our subscribers. We ask them lots of questions so we can put them in the right bucket and we can segment them so we know we're sending the most effective message to the most effective group of people and not wasting anybody's time or pissing anybody off, which is, frankly, why I hear a lot of people talking about Messenger. When I do a broadcast, everyone unsubscribes. And it's stupid and it's not effective. And that's usually the argument that you get from people that just aren't doing things right. It's the platform, right? Everyone said that with Facebook ads for a long time. Facebook ads are they're useless, they're terrible, they don't make sense, they don't make money. The thing with Messenger is like, if you're not segmenting people or bucketing people and all you're doing is blasting out a generic message to every single person, like that's going to happen on any channel. Doesn't matter whether you're using Messenger, email, text. If you send out generic messages to your entire audience repeatedly, you're going to have lots of unsubscribes. That's just a fact.
Sure, and that makes a lot of sense. So you're basically replacing completely not replacing completely, but you basically just moved your email sequence into Messenger. So you're now doing everything that you used to do from email, basically, it sounds like, into Messenger now.
To some extent, we still have some webinar funnels that we do email with. So we still do email, like I said, on a weekly basis, and it's still a critical component of any of our launch strategies. But Messenger is where we put a lot of our resources into, and that's where we're really focusing on growth.
So what are some of the other most effective strategies that you've recently been testing on when it comes to Facebook?
Sure. So the post-purchase retargeting funnel is probably one of my most popular funnels that I talk about in my course. And it's something that I see, when I get in these podcasts, when I talk to people on stages and events, I usually like to share with them things that I know are going to move the needle the most for their business. And this one is probably the most effective at doing that. So basically, we talked about earlier the issue with focusing on acquiring the first customer and putting all of your eggs into that acquisition basket and not really doing anything after that acquisition. So with all of our e-com stores and pretty much any offer we run, we put just as much after the purchase as we do before the purchase, which means that once somebody buys from us, that then triggers a sequence of ads that really try to acquire three different things. So the first thing is we try to build goodwill and trust and brand loyalty. And we do that through things like a personalized thank you video from the founder. So we run a video ad right after the purchase for 2 or 3 days that thanks them for their business, thanks them for the support, lets them know where they can reach out to me if they need anything. And that ad does really, really well. It gets a lot of really good organic engagement, and that helps establish that goodwill and that brand loyalty and gets people happy and excited. So that's one. 2 is developing assets that we can use in our pre-acquisition funnel. So UGC, testimonials, reviews, photos with the product, videos with the product, things that basically we can use in our ads to help acquire those customers. So it helps build that sequence prior to customer acquisition. That's number 2. And then number 3 is lifetime value, kind of profit ascension. So maximizing the profits, maximizing the lifetime value of that customer through upselling, cross-selling. If you have a trial to continuity play, pushing them to that continuity, your subscription model, upselling them to a mastermind, upselling them to a high ticket item. And so that's really what we do with that campaign. We segment that out over the course of 1 to 2 to 3 months, depending on the product, depending on the price point, depending on the delivery window. So basically, the key here is to make sure you know when your product's delivered, to hit the right ads, to get the right assets. A lot of people might solicit like UGC, but they might send that ad out or trigger that ad window for like 5 days after purchase. And if it takes 7 to 14 days to deliver your product, that's going to really just bother people, right? A lot of people do that with email right now, where they send an email out asking for a review before you get the product. And that's not really effective. So this sequence of this funnel really depends on all of those factors. The bigger picture and the bigger tip here is to focus on running campaigns after that first purchase and to not just stop your ads prior to purchase, because there's so much more value that can be established from an existing customer than somebody that's a cold prospect.
Makes sense. Now, you said something about analytics earlier. So what are you using to track analytics on Facebook?
Sure. So, we use Google Analytics and advanced e-commerce pretty extensively. Everything plugs into, we have a business intelligence dashboard that we use through a company called Grow that sources all of our data into one dashboard or set of dashboards that we can manipulate and do pretty much anything you can do on Excel. So pivot tables and all kinds of advanced formulas combining these data sources. But Facebook has Facebook Analytics that's relatively new compared to most features on the platform. And they're adding a lot of new metrics, a lot of new KPIs, a lot of new features to that channel on a regular basis. So Facebook Analytics, if you go into your business manager and go to your top left navigation and go to analytics, you can pull pixel data, page data, and then from there you can get a really, really good picture on all your high level metrics, the gender, age, placement, location, page likes. It's kind of like Audience Insights used to be, but it's specific to your pixel and it's a lot more robust. And then from there, you can get revenue data, you can get lifetime value data, you can understand things that make your optimization easier. So now they give you median time completion windows. So you can now see like what's the average time it takes for somebody that sees my ad to buy the product. And this is important because one of the features under an ad set that you use to optimize your ad is your kind of optimization window. So you usually have to choose, do I want to optimize for 1-day click or 7-day click? And most people just guess there. They have no idea. But really, you should be telling Facebook the accurate number. Does it take less than a day for somebody to buy your product after clicking on an ad on average, or does it take less than 7 days? And so now you can get that data through Facebook Analytics. You can build out whole funnels. So you can create a funnel in there and do drop downs and click your different events. And so it can be, from page view to webinar registration to initiate checkout to purchase, and they'll show you a step-by-step funnel with conversion rate numbers, and you can break that down to age and gender. It'll show you time completion windows. So it's really robust, and they're adding more and more stuff to it on pretty much a weekly basis, and it's been really exciting for me to see something like that from Facebook and not have to use Google for everything.
Now, Max, you'd mentioned that you a little bit about cold audiences before. Do you divide your spend up? And if so, what percentage of spend do you spend on cold versus warm?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, the way it works, right, is you have a funnel. And so top of the funnel is going to be the biggest audience, and you're going to need to spend the most money there in terms of just a cost per eyeball. And the big reason, right, is like you can't have these effective down funnel retargeting campaigns if you don't have the top of the funnel campaign.
Sure.
And that's the challenge. That's the frustration. I think people forget that sometimes. It's like, well, why would I run these campaigns top of the funnel when they're not profitable? Well, the reason you have that 20x dynamic product ad that's post-purchase is because you've acquired customers and because you've had traffic that you can then retarget. So it still is it's unfortunately a necessary component. And unfortunately, it's a component that does cost a lot of money because you need to be targeting big audiences and you need to drive a lot of traffic to your website, to your blogs, to your add to cart, to your products, everything. So I can't give you an exact number because it really depends on the business, depends on whether it's e-commerce store or a funnel or an info product or a high ticket item. What I can tell you is our kind of go-to strategy for hitting that cold traffic most effective. And so when it comes to somebody that's ice cold, that's never heard of your business before, never heard of your product before, the worst thing in the world is to hit that person with an ad for your product and to pitch your product, the solution. What you should be doing there, what's most effective, is problem agitation and focusing on agitating that problem with edutainment. So kind of entertaining / educating content. And what I mean by that is if your product solves problem A, so, I'm trying to think on the top of my head, just a problem. So let's say you have a new type of high caffeine drink or a new type of coffee. And so your product solves, not being able to focus and not having energy and all those problems, right? I'm not going to hit my cold traffic pitching my new coffee or my new energy drink. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create either like a BuzzFeed style video, a listicle, a blog post that hits on 10 reasons you can't get out of bed in the morning, or 15 ways to get started in the morning, or something like that. I know it's entertaining content, so I'm going to get a lot more engagement than I would get if I just pitched a product. But on top of that, I know that the people watching this video or clicking through to read this article, most likely they're relevant to my product at some level. Maybe they're not a perfect fit, but they're way more relevant than if I just went straight to that big audience. So essentially what you're doing with that ad is you're getting your biggest and coldest audience to self-identify and to raise their hand and say, digitally raise their hand and say, this is something relevant to me. And at that point, I can bucket them in a new custom audience and I can move them a step further down the funnel. And now, depending on the price of my product, the education gap of my product, other variables, it might take me 2 or 3 more of those touch points in terms of warming content-wise and problem agitation before I pitch a product. Or if I'm selling a T-shirt or some coffee or low-price products, I can go right in for a pitch at that point. And so then you kind of have a soft sell on the solution that you can tie back to the problem that you agitated in the previous article and kind of tie the two together. You have this kind of ad scent of familiarity between that ad and this ad. And then that's pushing them to a product page. That's pushing them to a collection page. And then that starts the rest of your sequence, which is your abandoned cart recovery, your post-purchase retargeting, everything else that happens after that step.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. What about funnel? You mentioned funnel. What does your typical funnel look like?
Sure. So for a info product, for a higher price product, typically we have, I'll just give you a real example. So I'll give you what I'm doing right now for Facebook Ad IQ Academy. So we took this interesting concept, and I'm a constant tinkerer. I like to test and experiment, and I'm never content with an ad. Even if it's doing really well, I'm always pushing to make it better. And combined with that, I'm also kind of lazy, and I'm very impatient. So I combine these two elements into a new type of ad that basically took all of these components we talked about today, all these funnel touch points, and tried to combine them into one ad. And I said, how cool would it be if I can make a single Facebook ad that accomplished all of these things, overcame all these psychological hurdles in one ad instead of having to do it over 10 ads over a 2-week period. And so I created something called the Rock ad. I happened to be watching The Rock on SNL or something like that, and I got really creative and called it the Rock ad. So basically the ad it has a carousel ad. The first part of the carousel is an actual video from my course. So it's my video ad funnel. So it's like a free 30-minute value ad. You can watch this video. I don't ask for anything. You can watch it. So there you go. No ask. Just here's 30 minutes of value. Then the rest of the videos, I got 9 in there, I think, are all video testimonials for the course. And then in the copy, I kind of hit on these, hey, do you have these problems? And I ask a bunch of questions. And then I kind of soft sell the course and give them some high level stuff. And then I say, I also want to give you a freebie down below. It's a free video from the course, just one of 80 videos. If you'd like that, let me know. And then on top of that, I've included some of my friends, some people that have taken the course and hear what they think. And then finally at the bottom of my ad, if you really want to join today, I'm going to skip a few steps ahead and give you a discount and give you $100 off today. So I take that retargeting down funnel discount and bring it up higher. And then I do a PS. If you comment, and tag a friend, I'll enter you into a contest to potentially win a free course. And so that ad has been so insanely effective. The organic engagements are off the charts because a lot of advertisers are like, this is really cool. Like, we need to try this. They're tagging friends in it. So that ad is kind of like a mini funnel, but that just for me, that's also just one ad. And so that then drives into a webinar. So if somebody doesn't buy at that point, they've just seen that video. I then retarget them to a webinar funnel. And then from there, I have a series of retargeting campaigns. The first one, if they watched a webinar but didn't go to the course landing page, I then do a pitch on the course. And then I retarget with a walkthrough of the course. I kind of show them behind the scenes video. Then I have a video testimonial carousel. Then I have a discount. And so I have a lot of touch points, and they all kind of trigger from Facebook, but they have some touches on, we use ClickFunnels. So we have the webinar and the landing page on ClickFunnels, and then our course on Thinkific. So those are touch points that we have in terms of an on-site destination. But really, that's a funnel that works really, really well for info products, courses, and digital products, is to provide content, value, then webinar, and then pitch course. And then you have those ads after it, behind the scenes, testimonials, discount, and then back to the course. And then you can have a further out period. If they really didn't buy after like maybe a 30-day window, maybe you can hit them with even a bigger discount to try to get them in there. And for me, that's fine because I know that this is just their first purchase on the course. There's so many other things that I can sell them down the road. So getting them into my community is way more valuable to me than kind of maximizing profitability for their first sale.
Sure. It sounds like you got a lot going on, Max. So let me ask you this. I mean, where do you see, as we get ready to wrap up, and I probably need to bring you on for another call, man, because there's a lot of stuff that I'd like to go into that we didn't get a chance to. Where do you see Facebook going? And like you said, I mean, a year and a half, a lot's changed. So where do you think things are going over the next year?
That's an excellent question, and one I like to talk about a lot. So it's going to be really interesting and really challenging for advertisers. I think one of the biggest challenges is on a privacy standpoint. There's this big dilemma right now of advertisers are getting really accustomed to knowing all this stuff about customers and be able to track them throughout the web and retarget them and re-engage them and pixel them and cookie them. But consumers are like, well, we don't want this anymore. They're getting familiar with it, starting to understand what's happening. And there's app developers out there making ad blockers and making, pieces of code that block JavaScript from firing. And, just like 3 weeks ago, there was big news that's kind of scared a lot of Facebook advertisers that a few of these ad blockers have begun to block the Facebook pixel, which means that you might not be able to track a certain segment of your users and attribute back to purchase. It really messes with everybody's formulas. It really throws everything off. And so that's going to be a big concern. And Facebook and Google are going to have to deal with that. I think for now, it's easier for them to deal with it because they can just buy them or they can sue them. You're talking about like a bootstrap startup making apps versus two of the biggest companies in the history of the world. And so not too concerned at the moment with it, but down the road, it will be concerning. It'll be interesting to see how Facebook and Google develop products that can continue this level of tracking and personalized targeting while also maintaining some level of privacy. And I don't know how they do that, but it's going to have to be done at some point. So that's a big topic. And then beyond that, there's also this whole advent of artificial intelligence and automated personalization. So the ability for Facebook to use AI to make the targeting and the tweaks and the optimizations and the scaling more effective for advertisers. And at some point, the artificial intelligence becomes more effective at managing ads than the human does. That's just a fact. At some point, there'll be a piece of code that is going to be able to pull in more data, interpret it, analyze it, and make decisions more effectively than I can or any ad buyer can. And that'll be very interesting to see where the human component is in that equation, because I think there'll be a need for humans, even with robotics and artificial intelligence. But I don't know at this moment like what that need will be. So artificial intelligence is huge. Facebook has doubled down on it. Although the last thing I'll say is Facebook's artificial intelligence lab about 3 months ago shut down a big program because they found that their chatbots were beginning to communicate with each other in a language that they developed purposefully so the human moderator could no longer determine what they were saying. So they started the Facebook engineers analyze these patterns of like really jumbled words that were being sent back and forth between chatbots. And they had no idea, they thought it was just a bug, but it turns out that the chatbots basically formed their own language in real time and were able to talk to each other. And the Facebook engineers didn't know what they were saying. And that's pretty scary. So they shut that program down. So it'll be interesting to see how they continue down that path with artificial intelligence.
Yeah, and I read that, and what was interesting about that is just because they had basically devised a more proficient way of communicating than the English language, which is what you design the AI to do. So it'll be interesting where that takes us. Well, Max, man, I've loved having you on. Like I said, I'll have to, get you on for another one because there's audiences and there's just so many things that we didn't get a chance to really dive into and decode. But anybody that wants to see what you're doing on Facebook, anybody that wants to get into your funnels to check them out, anybody that wants to learn more about your Facebook IQ product, what actions can they take right now to get in touch with you and to do those things?
Sure. So the easiest thing to do is to join Facebook Ad IQ. We have a public group on Facebook. We got a request invite, but it's we pretty much accept anybody once they fill out the application, as long as they're qualified. So Facebook Ad IQ is a great group to join. That's our big group. We have a lot of great discussions in there. You can email me at max@unicorninnovations.com. And then you can learn more about our course at facebookad.academy is the URL for our Facebook ad course.
Facebookad.academy. Yeah, but I think I've got it. I'll check it out, and if I can't pull that up, I'll let you know. And then everybody, I'm going to put that on the show resources page as well as Max's direct link to his website so you can get that. Max, I really appreciate you coming on today, man. I'm really passionate about Facebook. I'm excited to see what happens with our ability to market and all the things that are coming on. And I really appreciate you coming on and sharing and taking us from, a lot of people here that are novices to getting on that path to mastery. And I think your IQ product can further help that transition.
Definitely. It's great chatting, Ty.
All right, so thanks everybody very much for taking the time to listen today. So make sure you check out facebookad.academy. I'll put the link in the show resources page. And then also you can get in touch with Max at maxwellfen.com, and he provided his email address as well. So remember, it's all about taking action, and there's a lot of cool, easy places you could start with Facebook just to jump in and start doing some testing. And now you basically have a path forward with this IQ product to be able to move from just testing to absolute mastery. So make sure you check out facebookad.academy and maxwellfen.com. I'll put both in the show resources page. So again, thank you all very much for tuning in today. Make sure you check out those links and make sure you take advantage of Facebook ads, because what I'm seeing is the people that are getting in now and learning things have a huge advantage over the people that are waiting to get in, because things are advancing at such a fast pace. So make sure you take some action now and visit facebookad.academy. Thanks everybody. Have a great day.
You've been listening to the Business Credit and Financing Show with your host, Ty Crandall. Watch for our next episode to get even more insight on financing and growing your business. And don't forget to check us out online at creditsuite.com for even more business growth strategies.